6 months, that's all it takes to become unrecognizable. Not in years, not someday, in just 180 days of laser focus. Most people never commit long enough to see what's possible. But if you do, your future will never look the same. Transformation is not some distant, far-off miracle that takes decades to achieve. It's not something reserved for the chosen few or those born with privilege or talent. The truth is, life can look entirely different in just 6 months. 6 months of absolute focus. 6 months of ruthless discipline. 6 months of removing everything that doesn't serve your future and replacing it with actions that do. The problem is, most people won't believe it. They've been conditioned to think change takes years. They wait, stall, and delay, telling themselves they'll start next year or when things feel easier. But the reality is, transformation is simply the result of consistent, focused effort stacked day by day. Think about this: 6 months is just 180 days. That's 180 mornings to wake up with purpose. 180 opportunities to take one more step toward the life you want. 180 chances to show up for yourself, to stick to the plan, and to become better than you were the day before. And most people waste those 180 days without even realizing it. They scroll, they complain, they procrastinate. They think they have time. But time doesn't wait. Time doesn't pause for excuses. 6 months will pass whether you're intentional or not. The only difference will be what you did with it. When you decide to give your all, your full commitment, to a 6-month stretch of growth, the results can be staggering. Your body can be completely transformed. Your finances can shift dramatically. Your mindset can evolve into something powerful, disciplined, and unshakable. But it requires something most people avoid: intensity. Not casual effort, not part-time ambition. Intensity. You must treat each day like it matters, because it does. One missed day turns into two turns into a week, and before you know it, 6 months have passed and nothing's changed. The people who change their lives don't wait until they feel ready. They don't wait for the motivation to magically show up. They take control. They understand that transformation isn't about having time. It's about making time. It's about prioritizing what matters over what's comfortable. And when you operate from that level of seriousness, the results come faster than you thought possible. Habits start to shift, energy increases, clarity returns, you begin to see progress, and that progress creates momentum. That momentum fuels confidence, and that confidence keeps you going even when it gets tough. This is the power of 6 months. When you eliminate distractions and lock into your mission, you create a compound effect. Every small win builds on the one before. Every decision to show up adds another brick to the foundation of your new life. You don't need perfection. You don't need to get everything right. You just need to be consistent. You need to make the right choices more often than not. You need to stay committed, even on the days when motivation disappears. 6 months of focused effort will do more for your life than 6 years of wishful thinking. It's not about doing a million things. It's about doing a few important things every single day with purpose. It's about waking up and deciding, no matter how you feel, that you will show up, you will follow through, and you will not quit. That's how transformation happens, not in one big leap, but in hundreds of small, intentional steps. So if you're tired of starting over, if you're tired of being stuck in the same place year after year, then give yourself 6 months, not halfway, not part-time. All in, fully locked in. 6 months of discipline. 6 months of no excuses. 6 months of relentless execution. And when you look back, you won't recognize the person you used to be. Most people don't even realize how much they waste the time that could change their life. 6 months come and go, and they're still stuck in the same habits, the same routines, and the same mindset. Not because they're not capable of transformation, but because they're not intentional with their time. They live reactively instead of proactively. They wake up each day and let life dictate their actions. They check their phone before they check in with their goals. They say yes to things that steal their focus and no to the things that demand discipline. And then they wonder why nothing ever changes. Distractions have become the default. Social media, entertainment, conversations that go nowhere. These are the traps that eat up hours, days, and eventually months. The average person doesn't even track where their time goes. They don't see how much energy they give to things that bring them no return. They tell themselves they are busy, but being busy isn't the same as being productive. Running in circles isn't progress. Most people are busy avoiding what actually matters. Because facing your goals, your weaknesses, and your potential is uncomfortable. And discomfort is something most people run from. Inconsistency is the next silent killer. People start strong for a few days, maybe even a week. But then life gets hard, distractions creep in, and they lose momentum. They miss one workout, one writing session, one disciplined decision. And instead of getting back on track, they fall back into old patterns. The problem isn't that they failed once. The problem is that they didn't recommit. Inconsistency creates gaps. Gaps break momentum. And when momentum breaks, so does belief. They begin to doubt themselves. They convince themselves they weren't ready. They start over again someday. But someday isn't real. 6 months pass, and they're still telling the same story. Then there are the excuses, the justifications, the reasons why they couldn't give 100%. I'm tired. I had a lot going on. It wasn't the right time. These stories sound valid in the moment, but over time they stack up and build a wall between where they are and where they want to be. Excuses feel safe. They relieve guilt temporarily, but they cost you long-term growth. Every excuse delays progress. Every excuse keeps you comfortable in the short term but stuck in the long term. And the truth is, comfort is the enemy of growth. 6 months of wasted time isn't always obvious. It doesn't look like failure at first. It looks like scrolling, just a little longer. It looks like skipping the plan, just this once. It looks like putting off goals until things calm down. But all of those small choices add up. Before you know it, 180 days have passed, and nothing's changed. Not because you didn't have the potential, but because you didn't have the discipline. You didn't have the intention. You didn't treat your time like it mattered. And that's the difference between the ones who transform and the ones who stay stuck. You have to understand that time doesn't stop for your excuses. The clock keeps ticking whether you show up or not. Life keeps moving whether you commit or not. So many people wake up 6 months from now with regret, looking back at all the time they had, and all the time they let slip away. They wish they had been more focused. They wish they had taken action when they had the chance. But wishes don't build results. Action does, discipline does, consistency does. If you don't take control of your next 6 months, something else will. Distractions, other people's demands, your old habits. The choice is yours. Spend 6 months drifting or 6 months dominating. You can either let time use you or you can use it to build something extraordinary. But you cannot do both. The question is not whether 6 months will pass. It's whether you'll use them with intention or waste them like most people do. Breakthroughs don't happen by accident. They're not random moments of luck or chance. They're earned. They come when you decide to go all in, when you stop dipping your toe in the water and finally dive. Full commitment is the foundation of every transformation. It's when you stop entertaining other options. It's when you close every back door. It's when you burn the bridge to your old habits and tell yourself, this is it, I'm doing this, no matter what. That level of commitment changes you. It sharpens your focus, hardens your mindset, and gives you the endurance to keep going when it gets tough. Because you already decided quitting isn't an option. But commitment alone isn't enough if your life is full of noise. Distractions are the silent killers of progress. They don't seem dangerous in the moment. A quick scroll, a long procrastination. But they add up. They pull you away from your path, one tiny decision at a time. And soon, you've drifted so far from your mission that you forget what you were even working toward. Eliminate distractions and everything changes. Your time opens up. Your energy multiplies. Your focus becomes razor sharp. You begin to realize how much potential you always had. It was just being drained by things that didn't matter. This is why execution matters most. Not planning, not dreaming, execution. Doing the work every single day, even when it's hard, even when you don't feel like it. The people who create massive change aren't the ones with the best ideas. They're the ones who take consistent, deliberate action. They don't talk about their goals. They work on them. They don't wait for motivation. They create momentum. They know that success is built through repetition, through showing up, through doing the right things again and again until the results start to show. Daily execution is what separates wishful thinking from real progress. It's easy to get inspired and make a plan. It's easy to feel fired up for a few days. But the breakthrough happens when you stay disciplined on day 15, day 45, day 78, when no one's watching, when there's no applause, when the results haven't fully shown up yet. That's where the shift happens. Because most people quit when it stops being exciting. But if you stay with it, if you stay locked in, you start to enter a different mindset. One that doesn't rely on feelings, one that doesn't need hype, one that's built on the habit of follow-through. When you combine full commitment, distraction-free focus, and daily execution, you become unstoppable. You start to think differently. You begin to act with intention. You no longer waste time wondering if you're capable. You're too busy proving it. Every action becomes a statement. Every decision becomes a building block. And those building blocks stacked day after day become the foundation of your breakthrough. People around you start to notice. You begin to separate yourself from the average. Your confidence grows not from words but from evidence, from doing what you said you would do. Breakthroughs don't come to those who dabble. They come to those who decide. They come to those who eliminate the noise, silence the excuses, and show up relentlessly. There is power in routine, power in discipline, power in eliminating all other options except progress. You can feel stuck for years, and then in 6 focused months everything changes. Not because the world shifted, but because you did, because you finally committed, because you finally removed the distractions, because you finally did the work. If you want to break through, stop looking for the shortcut. Stop looking for the hack. Start looking at your actions. Are you really all in? Are you really protecting your focus? Are you really executing every day? Because that's where the shift happens. That's where breakthroughs are born. Not in the grand gestures, but in the daily grind of someone who refuses to quit. Every breakthrough begins with ownership. Radical responsibility means you stop blaming the world, your past, your circumstances, or anyone else for what your life looks like right now. It's realizing that no one is coming to save you. No one is going to do the work for you. No one owes you clarity, success, healing, or motivation. It's all on you. And that's not a burden, it's a blessing. Because once you realize your life is the sum total of your decisions, you gain the power to change everything. You're no longer at the mercy of chance. You're the architect. Too many people waste years waiting for inspiration, for support, for the right moment, the right feeling, the right environment. But the truth is, those perfect conditions rarely arrive. Life doesn't pause to give you the clarity you crave. You have to create it. You have to wake up and decide no more excuses, no more stories, no more waiting. I take full responsibility for my life starting now. And that decision becomes your turning point. When you accept radical responsibility, everything changes. You begin to move different. You speak with conviction. You show up with consistency. You stop needing validation. You stop needing motivation. You stop needing someone to remind you of your goals because they're etched into your soul. And even when it's hard, you move. Even when it's lonely, you stay disciplined. Because you no longer operate based on mood or external validation. You operate on mission. Think about it. How many days, weeks, months have passed where you gave away your power? You let people's opinions dictate your confidence. You let setbacks dictate your motivation. You let distractions rob you of focus. But not anymore. You reclaim your time, your energy, your attention. You stop pointing fingers and start taking control. That's what radical responsibility looks like. Not perfection, but presence. Not blaming, but building. There's power in knowing it's your fault. Not in a shameful way, but in a freeing way. Because if it's your fault, it means you can fix it. You can rebuild. You can restart. You can rewire your habits, your thinking, your energy. Responsibility puts you in the driver's seat. It gives you back the pen to rewrite your story. And it doesn't mean you'll always get it right. You'll fall. You'll doubt. You'll mess up. But because you've accepted responsibility, you won't stay down long. You won't spiral into blame or excuses. You'll ask better questions. What did I learn? What can I do better? What's my next move? That mindset, that willingness to reflect, learn and grow, that's what separates the average from the exceptional. Most people want change, but few want responsibility. Because it's heavy, it requires maturity. It demands discipline. But that's where the growth is. That's where the transformation is. You don't level up by running from the truth. You rise by facing it, owning it, and doing something about it. This is your life, your choices, your habits, your routines, your mindset. No more outsourcing the blame, no more if only thinking. No more excuses wrapped in stories. You are responsible, and that is your greatest power. Because the moment you fully own your life, you become unstoppable. The world doesn't owe you anything, but you owe it to yourself to show up like you mean it, every single day. If you want to see real results in your life, you need more than just passion. You need precision, you need structure. You need crystal clear goals and a strategic plan to get there. Wishing, hoping, and dreaming won't move the needle. Clarity and planning will. When your goals are vague, your actions are scattered. You spin in circles, busy but unproductive. But when your goals are specific and your plan is solid, you start making intentional progress, the kind that compounds over time. Clarity is power. You have to know exactly what you're working toward. Not just, I want to be successful, or I want to get in shape. What does success look like? What does it feel like? What measurable target can you chase? I want to earn $10,000 a month doing work I love. I want to drop 20 pounds by the end of the year through clean eating and training. That's clarity. When you define the destination, your brain gets to work creating the path. Ambiguity kills progress. Precision fuels it. Once your goals are clear, planning becomes the weapon. You can't just throw energy at your goals and hope something sticks. You need structure. You need to map the journey. You need to break the mountain into steps, the dream into deadlines, the vision into daily habits. Every long-term goal must become a short-term plan. Otherwise, it just stays a fantasy. Think of your goals like a GPS. If you don't put in the exact address, you'll never get clear directions. Planning gives you turn-by-turn instructions. It answers questions like, what's my next move? What must I do today to be closer to my goal tomorrow? What do I need to sacrifice? What distractions must be eliminated? How will I track progress? Planning isn't restrictive. It's liberating. It gives you direction, focus, and momentum. Too many people chase goals with no real roadmap. They get inspired, they start strong, but they lose steam because they don't have a plan to sustain the effort. You can't rely on motivation. You need systems. A structured plan is your anchor when motivation fades. It's what keeps you going when the emotion disappears. It's your compass when the noise gets loud and life gets messy. And your plan must be reviewed, refined, and executed daily. Real results aren't built in one massive leap. They're built in 1,000 intentional steps. You must wake up each day knowing what matters most and attacking it with purpose. That's how progress becomes inevitable, not by doing more, but by doing what matters consistently. Execution without planning is chaos. Planning without execution is fantasy. You need both. You need the vision and the system. You need the fire and the framework. When you combine them, your results go from random to predictable, from slow to exponential. And here's the truth: if your goals aren't written down, they don't exist. If your plan isn't scheduled, it won't happen. If your habits aren't aligned, your results will never match your ambition. Crystal clear goals and structured planning aren't optional. They're non-negotiable. You have one life. You don't have time to wander aimlessly. Get specific. Get structured. Build the plan. Work the plan. And when life throws you curveballs, don't abandon the plan. Adapt it. But never drift. Never settle for vague hopes. Clarity and planning are how you take control of your future. That's how real results are made. By design, not by default. Discipline must overpower emotion. That's the truth most people avoid. Emotions are fleeting. They change with your mood, your environment, even the weather. One moment you're motivated, the next you're exhausted. One day you're driven, the next you're doubting everything. If you live by how you feel, you'll always be at the mercy of circumstances. But when you build your life on discipline, you rise above it all. You do what must be done, regardless of how you feel. Emotion says, I don't feel like it today. Discipline says, we'll do it anyway. Emotion wants comfort, discipline chooses growth. Emotion chases pleasure, discipline chases purpose. The world rewards people who show up consistently, not just when they feel good. Your dreams don't care about your feelings. They demand action, commitment, and follow through. That's what separates the average from the elite, the ability to execute without negotiation. Execution without negotiation means you don't wait for motivation. You don't argue with yourself. You don't ask, do I feel like it today? You've already decided. You've already made the commitment. Now it's about keeping your word to yourself. That's self-respect in action. That's inner power. The more you practice it, the more unstoppable you become. You're no longer a slave to moods. You're a master of momentum. There will be days when you're tired, days when you doubt, days when nothing seems to be working. And that's exactly when discipline must lead. Because in those moments, every choice counts double. When it's easy, it doesn't build you. When it's hard and you still show up, that's where strength is forged. Winners don't wait to feel like it. They do it because it needs to be done. Think about the greats in any field. Athletes, artists, leaders, creators. They all have one thing in common: a relentless commitment to the process, even on the days it feels like nothing is working. That's not motivation. That's discipline. It's getting up before the world wakes. It's showing up after failure. It's putting in the reps even when the results haven't shown up yet. Execution without negotiation is what builds legends. And let's be clear, discipline isn't punishment. It's the highest form of self-love. It's choosing long-term fulfillment over short-term relief. It's saying, I'm not going to let a temporary feeling destroy a permanent future. Every time you let emotions dictate your actions, you sabotage your potential. But every time you rise above them and act anyway, you sharpen your edge. You build the muscle that makes success inevitable. When you train your mind to follow through, no matter what, you start trusting yourself at a deeper level. That's how confidence is built, not by talking, but by doing. By proving to yourself day after day that you are someone who finishes what you start. And that self-trust becomes your power source. It's what keeps you grounded when the storms come. It's what allows you to push when others quit. Stop waiting to feel ready. Stop waiting for the mood to strike. The formula is simple but powerful: discipline over emotion, action over excuses, execution over explanation. Wake up, lock in, show up, do the work, and repeat, no matter what's happening around you or inside you. That's how you win. You want a different life. Don't negotiate with your emotions. Don't ask for permission. Don't entertain excuses. Build your schedule. Stick to the plan. Honor your commitments. And when your emotions try to derail you, remind yourself discipline is stronger. Discipline is freedom. Discipline is the path to everything you want. When you master that, nothing can stop you. Success doesn't belong to the most emotional. It belongs to the most disciplined. Your feelings will lie to you, distract you, and tempt you with comfort. But discipline tells the truth. It keeps you focused. It pushes you through resistance. It teaches you to act with purpose, not impulse. When you learn to execute without negotiation, you stop living in cycles of inconsistency and start building real momentum. Discipline is the bridge between who you are and who you're becoming. It's the silent force that transforms dreams into reality. So choose discipline every day, especially when it's hard. Because the moment you let it lead, your life begins to change permanently.